Hi, this is Steve Simmons. Welcome to the StatMaster training video systems overview. This is for version 1, and before we get started, let me just say, for those of you that have purchased the product, we really do appreciate your business. Thank you very much. When you open StatMaster version 1, this is what you're going to see. It's the main summary control panel, if you will. On the summary screen you have two tabs, the stats tab and the clubs tab, and then you have 6 function buttons down this left hand side. On the stats tab you'll notice that we give you this is where all of the statistics are that we're currently tracking. There will be some additional stats that we add to version 2, but you'll notice that what we do is we give you scoring data up here at the top left, then we get into looking at average scoring and then how you do in greens and regulation on certain hole types, then chipping and pitching stats. Over here we have your sand save, pre-shot routine, and then we also have up here on the top right the demographics of the scores that you're turning in, number of putts, fairways, greens, and so on. We show you the most recent round that you've entered in this column, in the very first column. Then we show you the average over the last 20 rounds, and then we have a charting capability that shows you what your last 20 round average is compared to your goal. Goals is a big thing, a big deal for us. We believe that's a very important part of golf improvement, and so we make that available to you, and I'll show you that shortly. Is how you can enter your goals, and then the system will help keep track of that. On the clubs tab we have the different clubs that you can define for each of the shots that you enter into StatMaster, and then the current round and the last 20 round numbers. This is going to be expanded in version 2 to show you on the current round the number of fairways and greens hit, as well as percentages of fairways hit, percentages of greens hit with certain clubs, and so on. So that's what the main 2 panels are. In version 2, this will be expanded to include 5 additional panels for scoring efficiency, short game putting, and some other things that were tournament scoring, and so on. Over on the left we have the function buttons, so that show you some examples here. If we're having a golf lesson with our pro and we want to be able to print out our stats and take it to the pro to kind of talk about how we're performing in certain parts of the game, so that maybe the pro can see something in your stats numbers that he can use to discuss with you in terms of potential areas of improvement. We have the ability to show you and go back and track the rounds of golf that you've entered, so that if we needed to, for instance, go back and reference and look at what we did on this date for each of these scores, we could. And we'll get into this in more detail on some follow-up videos to this one. This is really intended only to be an overview, a high-level overview of what the system does, and then we can get into specifics in each of those categories in the other training videos that are following up to this, because it's important that we know what's happening in the way of pars, birdies, eagles, bogeys, etc. We need to know what the golf course looks like that you're playing. So before you enter a round of data into StatMaster, you need to define the course. For those of you that play the same course all the time at your club, then this is going to be a fairly routine deal that you're going to do one time, and that's pretty much it. If you're traveling around and doing all we need to do, for the most part, especially in version 1, is just we need to know what the hole number is and what the par is for that hole. In version 2, if you're interested in looking at the scoring analysis that we're doing and scoring efficiency, we'll need to know what those handicap numbers are. But for the purposes of version 1, all we need to know is the hole number and the type of, or what the par is, so that we can calculate for you how many birdies, pars, etc., what your average scoring is, what your greens and regulation are for those type of holes, and so on. We mentioned before about the goals. That's a big part of StatMaster. So you can work with your pro or do this yourself to figure out what your goals ought to be for your handicap level. We've shown you 3 groups of players here. We have the scratch players, we have 10 handicap and 18 handicap based on some analysis of some college players and other handicap amateurs that we've looked at to show you what their typical numbers would be for all of these different categories, and then you can just come over here and tell us what you want yours to be for that round of, or to put into the system for us to be able to track your goals versus your actual performance. We have the ability to export the data. So what we're asking the users to do as they come up with their 20 round numbers is to create this spreadsheet. Does it automatically by just clicking the export button. It creates the spreadsheet for you that has the numbers and then your 20 round averages. Then you can send that to me. We'll have instructions, more detailed instructions for our users on how to do that, so that we can then compile all of these numbers for each of the handicap ranges to show you how you're doing compared to all of the other users that are using StatMaster. So, and then we of course have the exit feature here. So those are that is a very high level overview of what StatMaster does, and we will have more detailed videos on all of these things: how to enter around, how to enter a course, how to do your goals, how to export, etc. So that concludes this video.